How y'all doing? I have a little testimonial story for you. Kind of cool. Hey, who's everyone here? Yeah. I didn't get on yesterday. I was trying to figure out how I was gonna handle this funeral today. As y'all know, some of us, as I had expressed, um, I already knew what this service would be about, and I just I just can't get with that, man. I can't. I could put down a little bit of what the dude's saying, because I love Jesus, but that's it. That's pretty much what I could put down. The rest, this hot fire, hell, and brimstone stuff, couldn't do it. And I'm sitting, and I walk in. I'm gonna let you guys know something. I, before I got to that church, I put up my shield, because I knew I was gonna be feeling a lot of everybody's emotions. So I put up a shield, and it worked. One of the things I did refuse, and I'm gonna say, for my own specific purposes, I refused to go look at my grandmother lay in that casket. I sat in the back. But I sat in the back, and I just watched and prayed the whole time. And I was at peace. I was at peace. But, I'm gonna tell you what, I've been seeing synchronicities like crazy the past few days. And I was asking Spirit to show me how to handle this whole thing. And I have been in communication with AJ, and he knew I wasn't dealing with it very well. I mean, the best that I knew, but he'd come over and hung out with me last night, went to the funeral with me, and I appreciate that, but enough about that. Either way, he's chilling, he's here sleeping, so we had a long talk, and we'll see what happens. That's where that is. But he was there for me, so I appreciate it during the time that I needed him. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Because it was weird. I was sad, but not for me. I was sad for everybody else. One of the things I was so, is the fact that when he made a comment that if you don't get saved, you'll never see my grandma again. That bothered me. That really bothered me. To scare people into heaven because they'll never see my grandma again. That's not true. Stop telling people that. It's not true. Either way. Enough of that. That tried to get me all worked up. And I didn't let it get me too worked up. I just really squeezed my sister's hand. And AJ was there with me. And I couldn't wait to get the heck out of that building. Sorry. When it was done. What I was more worried about and wanted to, more concerned about was my family. Yep. I refused to even do a last viewing. Like, I didn't do none of their tradition stuff. None of it. None of it. I didn't go do the viewing of the body. No, that's not my grandmother. That's not her. That's her shell that she's no longer in. So, why would I want to remember? I want to remember her with bright eyes and like herself. Not like that. That wasn't my grandma. So like I went for my family's support. That's it. And here's what I found out. the whole week before my grandma passed and before this happened, she was seeing a little boy. She was running around out in the yard at my grandma's house or at my aunt's house because my grandma lived with my aunt. My grandma kept on telling people she was seeing a little boy outside running around. And someone had told her that it was time to go. She no longer belonged here. She was legit, the night before she fell, she was packing her bag to leave. And I don't know who it was, but one of the boys said, "Where are you going? Where are you going?" And she's like, "I was told that I'm not supposed to be here anymore." You tell me the universe doesn't give us signs and signals. You tell me. Because I'm telling you. What I saw coincides with her seeing that little boy. It was like she was getting pre-warned that her time was soon coming. She was told. That's the ancestors. I'm going to tell you something else. I mentioned about ancestors on my last video. And I mentioned about a story of Jesus. I did. His ancestors, like, yeah, divine. Like, Moses and Elijah. Really? Yeah. Real Old Testament prophets. And it's time of your exit of your life. It's time. And he had peace with it. Because he knew. He had that divine, he knew. This little boy, my grandma tried to describe it to my aunt. My aunt's super religious. Super, super, super religious. So this took a lot for me. I was walking in the spirit the whole time I was there. And discerning things. Okay? I didn't talk to a whole lot of people. I stayed to myself. I was with my sister because my sister's getting me. She's picking up what I'm laying down. They're getting it. Because I told them all what was going to happen in advance. I knew. I held my composure. I didn't cry one tear the whole time I was there. I was in gratitude for my grandmother's life and how she lived. Like, that was my whole thing. That was the weirdest funeral I think I've ever been to. Because I had closure before. Like, I knew. And then I'm having signs that are happening. And then there's synchronicities that I don't know about while I'm having these other things going on. And I'm seeing stuff that confirms the signs that other people were... My own grandmother was seeing and telling my aunt. This is a confirmation. I'm telling you, our ancestors are on the other side. Let me tell you, she was seeing that little boy running around. Remember what I told you about the story with my grandmother and the guilt. She was seeing that little boy running around. Guess who it was? When that portal opened, my pap was there, and my Uncle Danny was there. You're doggone right, that was him letting her know. I'm great, thank you. That was him letting her know. You could put away the guilt. You made the right decision, and I'm fine. I'm right here, Mom. I'm right here, Mom. That was my uncle. He was an empath. He understood the value of sacrifice because he sacrificed himself for his friend. He tried to lay his life down for his friend too. And he died. But he accepted it. It's the family who didn't. And he wanted my grandmother to ease her guilt that she carried her whole life. Well, let me tell you what happened. Besides the little boy, which I found out about today, My grandmother was real good at crocheting. I mean, real good. That woman was, she was amazing. She'd make doilies. She did a lot of, I'm actually getting one of her blankets. That's one of the things I want because that was part of her craft. She was an excellent, she could make anything. She could look at a pattern and pick it up just like that. She was making all kinds of awesome 3D blankets, but right when they were first coming out, she was awesome. Raz, I'm doing good. I really am. I'm hanging in there, and I'm feeling very grateful today because I was able to bring peace to my aunt. Now I remember the story I told you about my uncle drowning. Okay? Well, I mentioned it to my sister yesterday. I didn't get on yesterday. I was dealing with family stuff, and AJ and I had started talking. He took off work to come with me to this funeral to be there. So I appreciate that. What happens between us is we don't know. Whatever. There's no animosity. I want no bitterness or animosity about anything. I just want to exuberate love unconditionally from now on. It's going to be hard and I get triggered, but I'm working on it. That's the thing. This transformation for me, I fasted all week. This was no coincidence, people. I was taught something. I was taught something. To trust your gut and make sure that it's positive. That it's going to bring peace and love to somebody else. And to step out in faith. If you're hearing something and if you're seeing something, and you have the chance to be able to tell somebody about it, that it could change their whole day or their whole life, do it. And here's why. I told you all about my uncle. I told you about the hard decision my grandmother had to make and the guilt. Oh, I had a vision. It looked like a portal that opened. I had a portal that I saw open during the time my dad called me to the time my mom called me and told me she passed. I was praying the whole time, and I saw in my spirit, when my eyes were closed, I saw it. I saw like this swirly thing. It was white. It was like a portal with, and I saw it open, and I saw my grandmother walking toward it. And I was like, oh God, like I was praying for divine healing. I wanted her healed. I was praying in spirit. I was praying for divine healing. I was declaring it. But the divine did heal her, and here's how. It wasn't the way that I thought in the physical. Nope. At the other side of that portal, I saw 2 figures that emanated my path and a younger boy. I knew in my inner gut, it was my pap and my Uncle Danny, standing there waiting for her. My grandmother was a pretty damn good person for the most part. She didn't want to hurt anybody. She had a tough decision to make. She did. And she dealt with the guilt and the shame of that her whole entire life after that. She had to make a tough decision. It's one of those things, like, you have to make a quick decision. You need to make it now, and you need to tell us what you want to do. And look, we cannot control when we come into this world or when we cross out. That's not our thing. Can't control it. But what I saw before my mom called during this time of prayer and meditation was as 2 figures on the other side of that portal. And they were bright. But I could feel like I knew who it was. I knew who it was, like, energetically. I knew it was my pap and my Uncle Danny. That's who it was. She couldn't take that guilt across the veil. She couldn't. That guilt and that shame was, you can't take it with you. So, I heard my uncle say, it's okay. You made the right choice. It's okay, Mom. And that right there ripped that guilt and shame off of her, and she was able to cross through the veil, and I saw it close right behind her. The whole question, pretty much my whole entire life, is I always had to make a choice, which side. I didn't know who was right, who was wrong. I only heard bits and pieces, and some of it was a very hush-hush story after it happened, because it was painful. Nobody wanted to deal with it. But the parents carried around the guilt, and it passed it on to the kids, which passed it on to the grandkids. And now I had to deal with the karma, which I'm happy to clear. I'm very grateful that I could do this. That Spirit chose me to be the voice piece instead of the hell, fire, and brimstone. Which he did. And I'm sitting in the back because I knew it was coming. I'm sitting in the back, and I put my head down, and I just start kind of giggling. Like, I'm like giggling like, I knew this. I freaking knew it. And AJ put his hand on me, and he looks, he's like, are you okay? I'm like, he's like, oh my God, stop. Like, I was, because I knew the people, I could feel, I did put my shield up, but I could tell people were very frustrated with that he did that. Because he started proselytizing about his church instead of my grandma there. But I was able to give my aunt peace. My mother, who was pregnant at the time with my aunt, I was able to give her the peace. She was pregnant with her at the time. So guess what? That gave her peace to let her know, you know, you still have a brother, you know. He gets it, and he was fine. And understood the choice. She didn't have to feel guilty either, because she did too. Because she was the child that was in the womb. She felt that. A child who's in the womb feels their mother's emotions. So, I was able to give her peace with my words of confirmation that she's okay. And she's with Pap and Danny. And she released that guilt and shame. I felt it. That's one of the things I had to transmute this week. It was, this light work stuff isn't easy. But my aunt had told me that she needed to hear that. That if there was one that she needed to hear, is she needed to hear that. Because now she knows. We see, a lot of times we'll see our ancestors before we pass on. Stuff you need to clear? Yeah. Those ancestors come back and say, hey, my grandfather, Lester, where he passed, he was seeing his family too. There's things that probably needed cleared. I didn't understand back then, but they say that happens a lot. Or you get warnings or signs. Look, if you feel very strongly, use your gut, especially if it's your family, and Spirit shows you something sacred like that, you just wait till you hear the little warning and be guided by Spirit on how to say it. if it's said with love and compassion, well, I told my aunt, I said, the only thing I'd like is one of my grandma's Afghans. And I said, if she ever made anything like pink, purple, and cream, or I want a blue one. She's like, she used to always have a blue one on the back of the couch at Shores. I'm like, good. It's the only thing I want. I'm cool with that. That was what she did. She was awesome at crocheting and stuff. She was pretty freaking cool. I'm gonna miss her on the 3D, but now I get to talk to her through the 5, so there's gonna be a learning experience. She's okay, and that's one of the things that's the message that was missed. Unfortunately, that's the message that was missed. That she's okay. I know it. I went in there with the gratitude for her life and how she loved kids and the good memories I have with her. You know, there was some bad stuff, but that was the karma. That was all that. That was vibrational. It was real low vibrational stuff. Like, and my poor mom had to deal with it. It was pretty low vibrational stuff. Well, you know, this is one way that you could turn tragedy, family tragedy, into a family triumph. So, like I said, this is the first funeral I've been to. And it sucked. Not saying. But I was able to click my emotions off and ground myself. I stayed very far away from that preacher. Well, actually, he kind of stayed away from me too. He said no words to me. Because I think he already knew. My aunt probably already forewarned him and probably told him, look, I have a niece that... I don't know. But I was good. I think a lot of people... I didn't talk to family a whole lot. I really didn't. I stayed to myself and I stayed to my immediate family. And it wasn't like I was trying to... it was just I wanted to deal with it in a more grounded and different way. And I didn't want to grieve something that is ultimately a blessing. You know? It's leaving this world. Dude, she's right on the other side of the veil, man. All you gotta do is ask her to show you. They do all the time. They can come back and check on the dude. The remnants of her will be around for a little while, so she'll be able to come in and out very easily. I know this, till she finally ascends. So, usually in the first year, man, there's a lot of signs that they're still around to let you know they're okay. Well, they do that. I already know it, so I'm just like, hey, just give me forewarning and shit. If you know things that I should know or you get secrets, let me know. Yeah. Yep. Well, it was her. The weirdest thing to me and the weirdest revelation was the fact that she could not cross that veil with that feeling of guilt and shame attached to her. I know why souls get stuck. Now it makes sense. It makes sense. And the fact that my Uncle Danny, who she has not saw in 50 years, it's been that long since he's passed, but was there to ease her, to be like, it's okay, Mom. And I got to see it, but I thought, you know how when you have visions and things, you're like, you have to want. And I'm just kind of like, was that in my imagination? How could I imagine that? And the one last thing I'm going to leave you with, what I saw was, like I said, they're light bodies, white, pure, sparkly, bright lights. And I could see like like almost a shadow of their face, but like you couldn't see, like they were so bright. It was weird. Like I could make out like the nose and, but I never saw my Uncle Danny. He died way before I was born, but I knew it was him because he was with my bab. And him calling her mom. It's okay. So, the fact she couldn't get through that veil, and that our ancestors are there to help us cross. They are. So, hey Jess, how you? I'll tell you what, it's been a very interesting, the synchronicity, like I said, was my aunt telling me that the little boy she was seeing, she couldn't make out the face, that it was just bright. And I said, that's it. What I saw through the portal was these two, was my pap and my uncle. They were bright. Like, so they had light bodies. It wasn't, and my aunt started, almost tearing up. And she's like, I needed to hear that. And I said, that's why I'm here, Aunt. I said, I know I'm not normal. I know that I'm different from the rest of y'all. But nonetheless, I hear things, and I usually, and I started telling my sister this like yesterday. I told my mom before I even told my aunt. There was something else too that was going on too that I really picked up. Like, my family's very bitter when it comes to religion, because it's shoved down their throat their whole life. Well, yeah. Either we're not religious, some of them still are, the older generation, or they don't want nothing to do with God. They don't want nothing to do with religion or spiritual, nothing. Nada. Don't push it down my throat. Don't want to hear it. It's kind of their attitude. And I get that. Thank you. That's why I resonate with that side of my family. Hi, Dana. How are you? You can ask Dana. My grandma, she's my cousin. My grandma Yeagers, my grandma Yeagers, my dad's mom. When I was at that funeral, I was a mess. I was a hot mess. I didn't put my shield up. I felt not only my pain and disappointment, but the pain of everybody else, which was horrible. Today, I've been asking for emotional grounding and to say the right things, because I knew if this preacher went all hellfire and brimstone, like I knew he was going to, I was going to flip out. And I didn't want to have to do that. Not my thing. I just want to be happy. So, before I got there, right when I got there, I put my shield up against any kind of religious spirit that was there. And that's pretty much, I didn't even cry. Like I said, I almost did, but I didn't cry. I did all my crying before this. When I saw Pap and Danny there, this is the stuff that Spirit does to me. I started fasting last Saturday. I started fasting a week, well over, and I broke my fast. I had a 7-day fast where I pretty much didn't really eat anything, but I drank a lot of water, and of course I had some Mountain Dew and stuff, but no food. I had some more healing and layers to go through, and then wouldn't you know, I knew it, and then wouldn't you know, my grandpa passed. And I'm like, how? After my last grandmother who had passed, that I still struggle with. I miss her. Still struggle with. How am I going to get through this one? You know, and I looked at the gratitude of things and how I could serve and give words of encouragement instead of hellfire and brimstone like they just heard. There's more beyond this layer. That's what we need to be starting to tell people. That's get off the damn milk. Start getting on the meat, people. You guys should be eating steak, is my opinion. As long as you people have been going to church and still getting the milk, give me a break. Get off the titty. There's more beyond this realm. And we'll see what happens next in the saga of the Jaeger side. Because now I have 0 relatives. Hang on a minute. I don't know why my phone's ringing. Sorry. Yep. Pappy Jaeger's gone and his wife Dolores is gone now. My other Pappy Jaeger, because I got 2. I know, weird. I got 2. He's been gone. Favorite grandma passed. 2014. Like I said, took that pretty damn rough. We lost 3 family members in 1 year. Sucked. Really sucked. But I found out she's not gone real quick. Papa's always been with me. And I have gratitude for him. And I'm clearing karmic stuff. I got to clear more karmic stuff for my family. And I got to ease the guilt of other people who carried around guilt their whole life. That it was unnecessary guilt. All that guilt. I got one more line to clear. That could be ugly. God gave me the easy one first. This next one is going to be hard. So, oh, ouch. It's going to sting a lot. But now I have, there needs to be forgiveness on that side. That's all about forgiveness. And trauma and abuse, yeah. I was telling my friend, she was like, you could write a book about your family trauma. Like, for real. Well, I might do that after I clear the karma of it all. So, I'm not the same person I was a year ago. Trying to get better. I still have a ways to go. Dear Lord, I go off. I can't help it. It's just a trigger. And I'm trying to get them removed. So, I'm working on it. I really want them removed. So, gotta bear with me when I'm going through these transitions. This transition was huge. I used to go to his grandmother's house almost every Sunday for Sunday dinner when I was a little girl. Still remember their phone number. Yeah. Then I don't have it new, obviously. But my grandma and Pap's phone number here. I do have one other story I have to tell you. I have some really good memories of my grandma when she was little. But I have a really, really other good memory of my grandma. And I didn't really do anything wrong, but I had to call my grandma. I had to call her because my mom wouldn't answer the phone because she had it off the hook because my dad was sleeping for work. Well, one evening I was going for a walk and I was just off in my own little world thinking. And I went over to the railroad bridge and I guess there was no trespassing because that was a bridge they blew up a few years later, but like they were getting ready to demolish this bridge and there was no trespassing. Well, I didn't see the sign. I went on the bridge. I was out sitting on the pier just watching the river. Well, there's a bunch of other kids that ended up coming over, and next thing you know, I'm walking back through, and here comes the damn cops. I get in trouble for being on the bridge that I didn't know. I just going for a walk, being led by spirit. Now I end up in a prison cell. Well, a holder cell. I'm trying to call my mom. She has a phone off the hook. I was the last kid to leave that cell. I was in there for 4 hours. I didn't do nothing wrong. I was like 14 or 15 at the time. I had to call my grandma. Like, Grandma, will you help me get the hell out of here? She had to come down to the municipal building and get me out of the holding cell. Because my mom didn't answer the phone. She bailed my ass out. She's like, Lisa? I'm like, Grandma, I didn't know. She's like, that's some bullshit. Like, she was on my side. She knew I didn't do nothing wrong, but just be more careful. So that was pretty cool. These are the type of memories I'll never forget. You know, that's one of the things I didn't get to mention today, but yeah. She's like, we ain't gonna tell your pap. We ain't gonna tell your pap I had to come down here. Well, hey, they all know anyway now. I'm not that bad of a person. I just want joy. I just want to be happy, and I want to be able to help people. I gave my aunt peace today. That was the most important thing to me. That was my grandma. It was time, and it wasn't her fault that she fell. It wasn't her fault. She's been dealing with guilt and blame since she was in the womb. My grandma dealt with it her whole life. So, you know, Heidi, you would be so proud of me. I'm not even kidding. Old Hellfire and Brimstone came out. And I just avoided it. I avoided him. And I probably wasn't myself. Yes, I did take a hit of weed before I went in there. I will admit that. I had to. It's better than taking an anxiety pill and being half zonked. Nope. I was going in there with enlightenment. I wanted to be enlightened. I didn't want to... Like I said, I put up my shield, I took a hit of weed, and just like, Spirit talked to me. As soon as he started talking, I started praying in tongues. I started praying against what he was doing. I did. I'm sitting back there. My sister grabs hold of my hand. AJ was with me. I grab a hold of him. And I put my head down. And I start praying in tongues against what he was speaking. I could hear everything. And like, I could get down with some of it. But when he got into you'll never see your grandma again unless you accept Jesus Christ. I was like, you liar. I rebuke that. Narcissist. Control. He had no discernment. None. I already saw my grandma on the other side, so don't give me that. You ain't scaring me in heaven. I'm a light worker. And he knew, I think he felt it. He didn't go nowhere near me. He even held the door open for us when we walked in. Thank you. Didn't have to ask me if I knew where I was going. The answer would have been, break on through to the other side. Yeah. I'm not another brick in your walls. Uh-uh. Nope, no carbon copy here. Gotta get off that fucking milk. Stop feeding people milk. And then the spiritual thing, which is supernatural, I got to give to my aunt, which gave her peace. That's all I needed to do. I used my discernment. I thought I was going crazy. I was like, I saw some weird shit. Going some weird shit, you know. No, I wasn't on no psychedelics either. Just in heavy meditation and heavy prayer. And asking how I'm going to get through this. I even did some readings the other night. I got some readings out. I think some of you guys saw. Got for Libra, Leo, and Gemini. Theirs are done. And I got the title for Aries too. Which is kind of, it's I got the title for Aries. Which is just kind of funny, but I think a lot of Aries are going to be telling people that, so you'll see when you see it. You'll be like, oh my gosh. Hope if you're a Pisces, you'll be able to you should be able to discern what it means. Which I thought was great, but. Or any kind of wit at all. Sorry, I'm smoking a cigarette. Yes, it's been stressful. On my psyche, on transmuting that negative energy. And, like I said, AJ came over. We've been talking. It is what like Flo. That's what I'm Flo. He's passed out sleeping. It's Flo. This is go with the flow. Can't control anything except for your response. Me and Summer was talking about this. She's like my go-to a lot of time. And Heidi, thank you so much for sending me that. Thank you for sending me that song. That meant a lot, and it's helped a lot. Yeah, you sent me a song through yeah, you know which one. I'm still a little bit, but Piscean energy. Yeah. I thank you. It grounded me a lot and helped me to clear some stuff. Yes. Chester Bennington was awesome. It's a shame what happened. But yeah, and Summer, thank you so much for a lot of your help too. That I can just bounce stuff off of when I'm going through. I thank you. I appreciate you guys. But this whole thing, if you're seeing signs and synchronicities and you're in the midst of something, do yourself a favor and step out in faith and tell people what you're hearing and seeing. Because guess what? You could actually help them close the karmic cycle and give them relief to their guilt. You know, the synchronicities were there. And I listened to spirit. I listened to him. I listened to what Spirit was saying and showing me, man. I I know, and that's why us light workers are here, man. And I was hugged and accepted with open arms from my family that I felt like for the first time by that side, because there was so much bitterness between, like, it was like the feud between the the what's that famous feud, the Hatfields and the McCoys. There we go. Yeah, it was like the Hatfields and the McCoys. And guess who got caught in the crossfire? My mom and us. Wasn't our fault. And it's triggers. It's all triggers. It's all triggers. And I'm clearing it. And it's finally happening, you know? Don't be afraid to step out in faith. If you're seeing and hearing things, you could actually shift somebody's whole entire life and let them know that they're important and that they have no reason to have guilt or shame. None. Just be a better you. I do. Summer, I am at peace. I am. Oh, I'm sorry. You know, and I got to see some of my family. I apologize the second time the phone. I got to see a lot of my family, and there's some who are not coping well. You know, and I try and, my favorite uncle, I try and talk to him, but he's got to deal with it in his own way. And when he's ready to talk, I want him to come talk to me. Because I don't think the way that these people, most people, like I said, my family don't know what to do with me because I'm so outside the freaking box. And I'm more of a Joan of Arc type of person, you know? By the way, she was an Aries. I think, like I said, thank you guys for your freaking peace and your vibes and talking to me. Like I said, I'm still trying. I'm learning how to. I gave a word the other day. I put it on my Facebook about what Spirit was integrating. Our emotions, and emotional regulation, and being able to regulate our emotional responses, or should I say reactions and triggers. They're going to dissipate the more we step out in faith. Yeah. And it all starts with believing in yourself. Like what the Vibe Tribe has been doing. We've been doing our confirmations. Believing in who you are. Believing in what Spirit has shown you are. Stepping out in faith and speaking your truth. And watch what manifests. And watch how you can change the whole environment and your whole situation. And somebody else's life, possibly for the rest of their life, so they don't have to live with guilt no more. Yep. If you're dealing with guilt. And I talked to Summer about some of my guilt. But this has all got released because I saw it. And I had the faith. You don't need to live in that. We're loved regardless. And regardless of what that pastor goes up there and preaches every week, or whatever you want to call him. He's whatever. Unfortunately, there's some people, including the church, that's stuck in the 3D matrix. I'm not in that anymore. Thank God. I've been let out of that. Not that there's not a place for it as a beginning point, but you can't stay stuck in the matrix. Like I said, I love Jesus. He's awesome. He didn't live in no damn 3D matrix. He was in a 5'7", probably, yeah, he was everywhere. He could move through. Hell, he was walking through walls. Yeah, he was having telepathic communications in the, in the upper, yeah. He's having telepathic communication with spirit. The Pharisees bring some woman in adultery, throw her before all the people. She was married 8 times. She's committing adultery on this guy and cheating. The law says we're supposed to stone her to death. What do you say, teacher? Trying to trip up Jesus, and what he did is you want to know what he did? He bent over and started writing in the dirt. Just started drawing in the dirt. He's grounding himself. Writing in the dirt. Okay. Grounding myself. And he stepped in the spirit and heard what his intuition told him. You use that when you sit up. They're like, because waiting. Ye who is without sin, you cast the first stone. Boom. They all had to walk away. they were like, had to walk away. One of the better ones I'm going to talk about, and then close with this one. Guilt. Yeah. I like to make people feel guilty sometimes. This one could sting. I'm talking to myself. We like to make people feel guilty sometimes for how they treat us. Because, guess what? We didn't deserve it. It's the truth. We all go through trauma. Yeah. One of those multi-layer things that we have to deal with. Guilt. We want to make people feel guilty for what they, and we want them to feel sorry for what they did. Can't control that. You can only control the forgiveness part from you that releases you from that trauma. Can't control whether or not they actually feel guilt. Yeah, you can project guilt, but it imprints it even more on you. Let it fall away. Look, we're different people now. We're coming up into higher consciousness. Higher consciousness. You can ask my cousin Dana in here. I was not this demeanor when my other grandma passed. I was a mess. But instead of taking time meditating, and taking time and asking and seeking and being like, okay, there's family karma here that needs cleared. What are you showing me, Spirit? There's triggers coming up. There's things that are happening between me and I started fasting. No food for a week. And it was an automatic thing. It wasn't like it just, my body didn't need it. So I knew it was time. I had to fast. I felt like I was supposed to because of the problems and the triggers. I want these triggers gone. I don't want to be triggered by my past anymore. I want to move forward. I want them removed. So, I went on a fast and started working on what's going on in myself. Why is this here? Well, I got a whole new, and you can ask Summer who's on here. I've been telling you my channel's been getting geared more toward healing. Well, guess what? That confirmation with my aunt today of giving her the right word at the right time, that shit I should not know. Stuff I shouldn't know. Well, I got a whole new healing modality for the Celtic Cross. That deep inner healing. And what each placement means in that Celtic Cross. And what each of those things that you need to release and integrate at each different point. And I'm going to be able to go through that with you to the point of manifesting your outcome, co-creating with the universe. I showed the blockage there, like what you have to do. Like, Spirit gave me all this in 15 minutes. I wrote it all down. Summer, if you're on here, you can ask her. I showed it to her. That's what I'm going to start doing in my private readings. Oh, yeah. If they need healing and unstuck and want to live their best life. But I have to do it with myself, too. I have to do it with myself. You know, so, like, I'm learning with you. But it's cool. You know, and I'm going to expand on it. But I have sort of some of it up on the video that I did the other day. Like I said, I've been like this for a while. I never expected the day of my Graham's funeral to feel so much peace. So, especially around a bunch of religious folks who, yeah, it drove me insane, and it pretty much made a bunch of my family very uncomfortable, which I knew he was gonna do. He did it the last time. I called it out. You know, I wish he wouldn't have. You know what? Dana, hey, my cousin. The guy who usually oversees, pastor who usually oversees my family on my dad's side, their funerals. I think he's Pastor Butch, I think. I think that's his name. He's cool as shit. Like, that's the type of person, yeah. Doesn't make you feel bad about yourself. He's not judging anybody. He just radiates a lot of joy. He knows you're going through, but he radiates and emanates spirit. And there's a difference. It is comforting. And he's a great person. So, like, I don't know. Like I said, I'm at peace. And it seems weird because I can smile today. I should be mourning. And crying. And blabbering. But I'm not. Like, I feel like I'm kind of flipped to the other side here. I don't know. Maybe I'm going nuts. I don't know. No, I don't think so. I'm pretty grounded. That's what it is. And being able... I know. Yo, they're so good. I love you. I love you, Heidi. Either way, I want you to know, when you start seeing signs and synchronicities, and you feel, okay, dear, and you feel that you're supposed to tell somebody something, have faith and step out and do it, because you could shift their whole reality and help emotionally heal something that's been hurting them their whole life. Like that. Don't hesitate. Just do it. I saw 333 earlier. I'm just like, I've been seeing synchronicities so much. School buses everywhere. You're trying too hard, Jess. Don't try, just let it happen. The more you force it, the more it's not going to happen. Just so you know. Either way, I'm at peace. And thanks for chatting, guys. I know there's 6 of you on here, and I'll finish out the readings here at one point. I'm just going to kind of... I didn't sleep well, obviously, and I don't know if any of you have. It's been pretty nuts, but hey, I'm doing good. Just wanted to kind of get on and give you guys a heads up how it went, because I don't do funerals well, so because of stuff like that, but it's hard. Like I said, I didn't go up and view the body, nor did I walk past for the I don't do that. That tradition is now, I'm done with now. I don't care who it is. Nope. I don't want anywhere near the corpse at all. That might sound weird, but I have my own specific reasons for it. So, either way, I love you. And what do I have to do yet? Cancer? Oh, God. Let me get into Cancer, then you'll all see me start getting emotional. Cancer, Aries. I love you too. I gotta do Cancer, Aries, Taurus, and Virgo's. I got something special for Virgo. So, yeah, Virgo's getting a special one. Yeah, Virgo's last, because I got something special for them. And then I'm going to do love readings for the ones who won. So, like I said, I gotta go pay bills tomorrow. There's shit I gotta do, but yeah, back on my shit. So, like I said, now I got Grandma D on the other side. So, I'm sure she'll be around. Anyway, I love you. We'll see you guys later. I'll talk.